Hi, Tiffany here, and welcome to my quilting life. So today, welcome to another Sew Sunday. Today is the 28th, so the month is almost over, and it's almost May. Like, this year is already going by so fast. So, well, if you're new to my channel, don't forget to, I think I remember it being this side, right down here, I'm sure. The subscribe button, hit that, and a bell will pop up, and then you can get notifications, and you can adjust those settings from that screen when it pops up to get notifications when I'm live, which is mainly Sundays right now. And long arm quiltings are in the group, so don't forget, if you are here, to go join the group so you can watch long arming videos, because I tried from YouTube yesterday, as a lot of you saw, and well, it wasn't very good. I mean, the quality of the video wasn't good. Obviously, what I was doing was good because it's right here. It's done. But the quality of the video was not so good. I went and looked at it, so yeah. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Michelle. So, yeah, today is just focusing on binding. I have 3 quilts that need to be bound. So far, I've got to 1. I started this morning, but then the girls got here, and I got scatterbrained with them most of the day. So I need to finish it up. It's on the back side. It just needs to be rolled to the front and sewn. And then a little baby one, and then another one. So I'm going to attempt to just do what I can while I'm on live today. So okay. Anyway, I'm going to move this mouse out of the way so I can just get to sewing, because it'll hit buttons if I don't move it. Hopefully it stays there. You guys like my shirt today? I have no battery power at all. I'm just pooped. This mommy is just done. My battery won't charge. So, all right, well, if any of you if you've been over in the Facebook group, this is the pattern Flying Home that I designed and did earlier in the year. I showed you guys how to do it. Obviously, I tried to make a download for it, but unfortunately, I just can't do that kind of stuff. I really suck at making PDF downloads. So, but this is it. There is a video tutorial to make it. It's made out of a jelly roll. And yeah, just a jelly roll, and I think a yard and a quarter of the white fabric, but technically more because I'm using more for the binding and the back, which some of you guys didn't get to see unless you've been in the group. The back is a pieced back. And if I can get this to the center so you can see, it alternates colors. And you can see the quilting. It's an overall swirl feather, paisley feather. It's hard to say. Swirl paisley feather. So that's the back of it. You can actually see right there one of the big, huge paisley feathers. I had so much fun with this yesterday. Like, it took me 3 hours total. I had my machine timer on. It was actually like 2 hours and 51 minutes, but still 3 hours. But then the lag around time between, things. As long as the machine runs, the timer runs. But if I stop the machine, the timer stops on its own. So every time I stopped and had to rethread or do something, or if I took a break, obviously that timer stops. But in total, the machine ran for pretty much 3 hours. So it's a pretty quick quilt. But then you guys saw I quilt fast. And if you went over to the Facebook group, there is actually a more descriptive as I can get, slowed down video of me showing you how to make a swirl with the paisley style feather in it. So, but that's that, and it's done. And also it has a quilt tag on it. It says Flying Home, an original design by Tiffany Groff Quilting Designs 2019. Since this one is the first of this, I might make it again because I really like it, but a different colorway. This is done with more traditional flower prints and stuff, so I was kind of thinking it would look good in some black and white colors or something, with like a red or a turquoise, because I like turquoise with black and white fabrics, as you guys know. I think it would look good mixed up into something different, you know. But we'll see if I ever do it again. Obviously, I designed it so I can make it anytime. Hi, Teresa. Hi, Diane. So yeah, I'm just going to get to sewing this to the front side now. You guys know how that works. I sewed the binding to the back, and I use 2 1/4 inch binding. It's, some of you might say that's kind of small. 2 1/2 inches is more your thing, but I don't know why. To me, the smaller binding helps me keep it really, really neat, and I like it wider too. I like wide binding, but I also like to fill wide binding as well, or have a bigger border. This has a smaller 3 1/2 inch border, so obviously I went with the smaller binding size. And I always change my stitch length as well. And I'm going to put this here so that I can at least guide myself to where I don't have I don't sew straight lines ever. You guys know this. Hi, Marcia. Welcome from California, huh? You haven't been here for a live before? All right, so I put my stitch length that when I top stitch to the front side, I stitch it on with the 2.5, but when I roll to the front on any binding, just so you guys know, I always change the stitch length to a 3 on my machine, which on any machine, dial or not, it's going to be a 3, the number. So that way I can make sure that it looks more hand stitched, I guess, with the wider stitch than it does with the smaller stitch, and it looks clean to me. And I cannot hand stitch at all, so don't even ask if I've ever hand stitched my binding on, because I haven't. I think I should someday, but I have not. And I just follow this around right here on the edge, and I just roll and go. Well, if you're new, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And there's also in the links below, in the description below, there's links to a Facebook group where everybody shares their stuff, mainly me so far. But you guys know you can share your stuff. But there's stuff that I post long arming videos in the group because I can't do the Facebook. I mean, I can do live from the garage. It's just a little bit more challenging. And yesterday's video will show that it's a little bit more distorted, because the more things move, as you can see my hand, the distortion happens, and while it's on the long arm, the camera, it doesn't fare well. So hi, Billy. So I just get this sewn on. I don't even know if I changed my bobbin yesterday for something, but I haven't done anything with it today, so I might run out in the middle of this, sewing this on. But we'll see how long it lasts. Hi, Marla. Not late. You guys are all here on time. I just started. So as you know, with binding, I just roll and go, and I use one finger underneath, keeping it flat, and then my middle finger on the top side, and just hold it against my machine tray, the extended table thing, and I kind of just hold it down. My thumb is on the bottom, middle finger and ring finger on the top, until I get closer, then it becomes just one finger. And I just kind of hold it go, and I stay along that edge as best as possible. Sometimes I leave a lip, but most of the time I'm on the edge. Before I just stayed in the shadows. Oh, that's fine. Not everybody talks all the time, and it's fine with me. It's fun to watch. Oh, I think the baby stole my chapstick. All the talking makes me need chapstick. Oh, there it is. She put it inside the pencil holder. I have what's called chapstick OCD. I constantly have to put it on because when I do talk, It dries my mouth out really a lot. I am so pleased with how this quilt came out. So I have decided that this is going to be one of the quilts that I enter into the quilt show. I can either enter 3 big, huge quilts or up to 5 quilts, just depending on their size and how much room. So I think this is going to be one of 3 quilts that I'll enter. This one, obviously my diamond quilt, which I got to get to because it's starting to get too hot. And then, I don't know, I have one more that I might, and one more that I might, 2 more that I might, but one that I'm not sure about until after I see how the quilting comes out, obviously. But I'm definitely going to enter this one into the quilt show. It's a one of a kind, so it should be entered. One of a kind should fare better than patterns that do this, you know, that everybody's got the same quilt. So, because I've seen at the quilt show that I've been to, quilt shows, more than one of the same pattern, and you don't want to see that. So, all right, so I'm going to come to my corner, and you guys know how I miter by, I pull the bottom part of it. I don't have my little piece of paper so that you guys can see down here. I can see, you just can't. Ooh. Stay. So, as you can see, here's my lip. I like to fold this over first on this side, and then I take it with my finger and make a crease, a 45-degree angle crease, and then I pull the other side over until it lines right up, making a little 45-degree angle, and I hold it with my finger. You can pin it if you want, but I just hold with my finger. Just so you guys know, you've seen me do it a bazillion times. I come right up to it until I have 1 stitch in it. And then I back stitch once, forward stitch once, back stitch, and forward. And then I turn. Quite simple. And then I back stitch once on the other side when I go the opposite way. It just looks cleaner that way. No, Marla, I don't sell my patterns. I give them away for free every time I write one. I just need to learn. Okay, so my writing a pattern is scribbling on paper. I do all the measurements. I throw all the math on the paper. I draw a little picture, and I try to draw a picture because I just wrote another one. You guys are going to love the newest one I wrote. I'm not going to tell you about it, but you'll love it when I finally do get a chance to do it. It's going to be a jelly roll one as well as everything else. And it's something that has never been seen before. I Googled as many idea ways and nothing came up on it, no matter how I Googled it. So it's never been done before. So yeah, I want to sell them, but unfortunately I can't write them. Somebody needs to write these for me and put the little direction pictures and stuff. I am technology stupid. I know how to turn this on and turn it off. I don't know how to do anything else. But I do tutorials as best as I can to describe making the pattern. I show you the numbers as best as I can, or I tell you the whole process. I keep repeating myself so that you guys will know, since I can't write it. So sometimes in the description though of some of my videos, I have wrote out as best as possible the follow along math numbers. So yep, I write them, but I just can't sell them. I'd love to, though. That'd be nice. Make a couple bucks here and there, you know. Be easier for everybody else to follow along. That's for sure. I missed my mark. I have to come back real quick so that I can hit it. I'm actually sewing really slow, which is totally not normal for me. Yeah, here, I'll show you again. For anybody that's just joining. All 4 blocks are like this. The pattern is called Flying Home. The reason for that, okay, the idea of this one, when you're up in an airplane, and I know some of you know this because you've been in airplanes, the ground is patchworked, and it's just really cool. And then sometimes, if you're low enough, like I was when I went in a plane, you see the shadow of the airplane, which are wings, right? So all of the triangle, they're flying geese, but they're floating, are flying home towards the center. So yeah, that's why I named it Flying Home. And then it has a pieced middle. That way I don't waste any pieces. And I think I added that into the video. I'm not sure if I did. I might have, though. I'm pretty sure I have. I'd have to go back and look. Don't quote me on it, though. But I added all the middle so that they separates all the blocks once they are the same. But it makes a pretty darn big block. And I like that I made a piece. I got really bored yesterday, so I was in here for like an hour, and I just made the backing, which is alternating for those just joining. I made this yesterday in like an hour. I was bored. I put a bunch of strips. I didn't even measure the size. I just cut a bunch of strips from 1.5 yards of one fabric and 1.5 yards of another fabric. Put them together with some white, and bam, I had a backing. No, maybe it was 2 yards. I don't know. I didn't have a number on my things, but it wrapped around like a few times. My little bolt thing. And I did it again. How does that keep happening? I'm not paying attention, or it's because I covered my light. Oh well, you guys are just gonna have to deal with the glare. So how's everybody this Sunday? Anybody get any sewing done? I do have a cough, by the way. I haven't gotten over. Got sick from the babies again. You got some sewing done today, Vicki? That's really good. I always say that's why I have Sew Sunday. It's to set some time even if it's just once a week on Sundays, to get some sewing done. Lots of projects we all have. It's just how it works, unless you're new, obviously. But sooner or later, you'll have enough projects. But it allows us a day of the week for just a little while to sit down. When you get home from church, or when you get home from doing whatever you do on Sundays, it's sit down and get something done. Lots of cleaning today. Yeah, you'll have to deal with the glare because I want to be able to have a nice, good binding on here. To find the right people to hook you up. Yeah, I actually made a post on Facebook in a local group, like where you ask questions or find help or something, to find somebody that was good with computers that can come help me with some things or do it for me. But I only had one response, and it was and help with my video making and editing, which nobody ever came to help me. So obviously I am not making and editing any videos lately. I just do live. It's easier for me either way. And plus I like chit-chatting. It's like you guys are here with me. And right now, technically you guys are, because nobody else is in this house tonight. At least not for a little while longer. No sewing, but it's early. How early is it, Marla? It's 5:46 here. It's late for me because I never slept last night. Every time I clean, it gets dirty, even though I'm glad that leaves it in the house. Oh, you guys are talking about Sandy's sewing machine. It's not that late, Vicki, where you are. 8. Normally by 8, we're just settling the girls down. But they go home early on Sundays. To get rid of some stuff. That's what we've been trying to do. I scrolled too fast. It's starting to get stuff to get rid of. Check out high schools. They do that. Yeah, I asked a couple high school kids. My kids are teenagers, so well, not all of them anymore. One turns 20 this year. But yeah, I have to ask a few more people that, that do those kind of things. I also asked at the college. They actually do not have a class for that at our local college. They have it online out of another area, but it's hard to find somebody specific that does those things, especially pattern writing. Like, who does that, Or at least some kind of businessy stuff where I can write it and they can just type it all out and add all the stuff for me, Another thing that helps with writing patterns is actually having a picture to add of what the pattern's going to look like. So finally, that's done. So I can add a picture to what the pattern is supposed to look like. When I finally do write it, obviously. All right, coming to another corner. Fold it. I got to tuck this little corner in here. Oh yeah, that's still early for both of you guys. Not bedtime yet. All right, stay down, you little piece. My pedal has decided it did not want to stay on my little stool thing down there. I have to go really slow right here. I got to cut all the shredding away as I go too. So yeah, if I enter this into the quilt show, I'll have to add a hanging sleeve to it, but that can be just added later. Which is no big deal because I actually have like a strip of this color left, the green. I don't think it's bigger than 6 inches. It has to be at least 8 inches. But I'll figure something out, obviously. Only because it's a 2-sided quilt, so that makes it a little bit different. Because the other side is pieced, but it shows all the quilting really nicely. So technically it's 2-sided. Any quilt is 2-sided, but this one's pieced. And it's nice to look at. The colors went great with each other. And I added the strips because the front has the 1.5-inch strip, so obviously I put that on the back. Aw, how cute. Cadence is watching with you. Who don't know how what? Okay, hold on. You said that to Diane. Where's Diane thing? Yeah, Maxine doesn't know how, no. None of my kids know what I'm trying to do here. They don't have no clue. Alexa knows on the video editing part, but like I said, she knows that, and you guys know that I'm kind of broke and I don't see the, I can't weigh in the price of the video editing program right just yet. You know what I mean? Like, I have lots of payments and stuff, as you guys know. That darn machine out there. I can't say darn machine because I love that machine. It's amazing, and it helps me complete amazing projects. You know, I have done 22, this is number 22 quilts on that frame since December 3rd. That's actually pretty good. Like before on my Juki, I was doing a quilt a week, but this is a little bit slower. It's 3 or 4 a month, depends, because this one, another one, and another one have been done just since last Sunday. No, last Saturday. So technically I did 3 this week. It's just when I'm in the mood, you know. I'll bust a bunch out when I'm in the mood. But yeah, I've done that many quilts on my new machine since I've had it. When you wonder where all these quilts are, oh, they're stacked in a closet and in a box. And then some of them went to their forever homes, obviously. And or are in my living room. Laying on the backs of all the couches. Yeah, the hanging sleeve has to be 4 inches because of the pole. I think there are poles on the tops of those white, the canvas things that they hang the quilts on at the quilt show. They're like that big around. It's a pretty big pole that has to go through the backs of the quilt. But you don't have to have, the guy explained to me, you don't have to have just that flat kind of hanging sleeve that just goes across the top, you know, where it's just a big hanging sleeve to slide in. You could also have the hanging hooks if that's what you prefer or how you made it, as long as they can fit the pole through those hooks. So they would have to be pretty tall hooks, obviously. But you can actually do it with hooks if that's the style, because it's, say, a hanging quilt for you at home or something. Obviously, my quilts, when I make them, their intentions are to be used, but for quilt show purposes, only because I really, really want to enter, at least if I do it just this year, you know. I want to make sure that they're hanging sleeves, so I'll put one on and hopefully it will be easy to cut it off. Oh, I know, Teresa. I haven't. I took a while off. You guys know that. I didn't quilt for like 3 weeks. I didn't add anything to the frame. And then when I finally did, and then this recent MS problem, I didn't do anything. But that's why I was able since last Saturday to get 3 done. And the only reason why that little baby one took forever on the frame is because I split it up within 3 days because it was all ruler work, and ruler work may be nice and it's a simple way to get around, but it is tedious. If it's the same thing and you're repeating the same thing over and over again, it kind of, I don't know, it's a little tedious. That's the word I'm using. It's a nice way to finish a quilt, though, for sure. It doesn't help that I have really bad acid right now, so I have a sore throat from it. Every time I cough, it's like burning. Well, that's how you just share the videos. I guess that's it. I was thinking, and I don't know if I should do it on my own because it seems weird coming from me, but you know, when you guys are joined in some of the groups on Facebook for like quilting ideas and stuff where people have threads about it, and say someone posts a picture of a pattern or of a quilt, and then they say pattern in the description below. You guys can do that too. At like someone says, I need ideas on a baby quilt. Take the favorite baby quilt you saw me make in a YouTube video and put that link in the group that you're in and say, well, this one's a good one and it's easy to follow, something like that. I was going to do it myself, and I've done it on several videos for ideas. And I have posted pictures of my quilt and said my thing is below, but I don't get as many comments when it's from me. It's the weirdest thing. It's like I'm trying to promote myself, but I am at the same time. It makes no sense. So, but if I just post something and I don't link anybody to my YouTube videos, then it gets like a bazillion views. It's so weird. Hi, Sonia. Yeah, you guys could share these to however. I don't know how to share to Instagram, though. That's the only thing I haven't figured out. I guess you would put it on Facebook and hashtag it or something. I don't know how that works. To get people on, or maybe put something on Instagram and hashtag. I have no idea. Remember, I'm just started all those things. I mean, I had an Instagram. I just turned it into a quilting Instagram. I never used it for anything else, but I'm getting there with this whole social media thing. It's hard. And then I try to post pictures and everything that I'm in. So, well, you know how to share though, at least, Vicky. So sharing is good. See, I may be only doing like 3 inches at a time, but it's getting done. This is side 2. That's good, Diane. Share away. I got to go back, and every once in a while I go in on my computer and I have to change all the screen things. When you go on and you see my videos, and before it had the Tiffany's Quilting Life thing, I haven't actually gone in a while and changed all those face pictures or click pictures or whatever it's called. I have to go and change all those. I try to make them all the same so that everybody remembers the symbol to remember that it's me. I guess that makes sense, right? I was trying to figure out how to get a clickable link in the screen itself while you're watching a video, because I know I can add it, but I think you actually have to be a paid YouTuber, the ones that get paid to be on YouTube, to actually be able to have a clickable video. Like at the end of Missouri Star videos, there's a link to different videos and the subscribe button and stuff. I think you have to get paid to be on YouTube to get the ability to put those things in videos. Just like the whole commercials thing on some of them. I chose not to have ads. I don't even get paid for YouTube, and I chose not to have any ads because you could take them away. There'll be like 1 or 2 if I pressed OK on it, and I chose no. All right, I'm at another mitred corner. Let's come right to that edge very slowly. Uh-oh, no, don't do that. My foot just got stuck in the, foot on the machine just got stuck in the edge of my lift. Oh, that would have sucked if it would have yanked it back and then stitched it. I would be unstitching right now. A side and a half left. Well, a side and more than half, a little bit, because I started a little bit above. And then I can cut some more binding for another quilt, which I will show you guys, whoever didn't see that in the group either. Trying to get what I can done. I got to get to working on that Mariner star. It's okay. So here, I'll show you. I did a prototype of that Mariner star center of the quilt, like you guys saw the videos. So I had to do a practice piece to make the center, just to make sure everything lines up. So I just took some gingham and threw one together. But I don't know if you guys can tell from there, but from here, if I was to sew this into the quilt, I would lose every single point. So somehow I got to figure out how these go on differently. Then these ones right here, some of them touch like they're supposed to. And then there's others that there's like, let's see this one. There's like 1/4 of an inch between those two. How that happened, I have no idea. And then if you can't tell from there, right here, this whole section sewed into that circle, it didn't meet up at the end. It overlaid, overlapped, and over whatever. So there is like literally a big, huge crease and a big, huge crease here too. I don't know how it happened. It folded over. Like, it's pretty bad. I don't know how it ended, but obviously this is going to be, once it's in the colors, obviously, of the Mariner star that I'm doing, this is how the center is supposed to look if it had all its points. So I'm at least getting there. But I needed to make sure I do it first. I didn't want to waste the fabric, the customer's fabric, because that stuff was expensive. So I just used gingham, which is I have a ton of. So just to make the sample, make sure that those cuts come out right, and they didn't. So as soon as I get that right, then I will be able to go back to the videos and finish that series. I will get it right, though. I think I'm just going to go straight to using the customer fabric, though, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, from there you can't tell, obviously, that it's horrible, but it's horrible. Like, I want it to be show quilt quality, because in the middle of the time that they're not using the quilt, the customer, I have the option to take the quilts from the customers and enter them into any quilt show. So I like to make sure that the customer gets an amazing quilt, as well as I can take the quilt any time of the year to enter quilt shows with it, you know. So it needs to be correct and accurate as possible. But I'm trying. I got to start on it some more, though. I need to get more work done on that. For sure. Plus, I know you guys want to finish seeing the series anyway, because it's kind of stopped at those outers, which are right here next to me, but you guys can't see that. There's the outer border part. I started with those first because that required the most of the fabric usage. So, and I still have 18 more to make, I think, but of a different size. Yeah, on screen you guys can't see too much, like any flaws or imperfections, because it's not really that clear. I tried today, I put the regular webcam that's built into the laptop. I turned that on, and I was like, well, maybe you guys can watch me from that. It's a wide view, like you can see the whole room on this side from that camera. Unfortunately, though, it's blurry. It is an older laptop, so it's a super blurry camera. This is way clear quality compared to that one. That's probably why people still buy webcams, is because of that. It may have looked great to you, Billy, but unfortunately, it's not up to my standards. I want it, like I said, to be show quality, award quality. That's what I look for when I make something for a customer. When it's just for somebody else to like have to throw around the house, or for a family member or something, it's never perfect. But when it's for somebody who's paying a lot of money to have something made and it's taking me a long time to make, then I want it to be as perfect as I could get it. That's just my OCD kicking in, which is okay. A lot of you have that too. You know, a lot of people have issues when they're making something, then they end up getting frustrated and they unpick 3 or 4 times. And then by the time you unpick 3 or 4 times, the material is now ruined. So you have to start all over again and you get frustrated and it's not a pretty sight. I'm trying to prevent that from the start, so. I wonder if you guys can see that right here. When I get further along and you can probably see it better. The quilting. Right here in this color, you can see the big, huge swirl. And it starts little and then they get big and they come back around and they get little. I like how this turned out because I did not put the paisley feathers on every single one. And then some of them got messed up. Like I kept going back to regular feather and I didn't think about it, you know, while I was doing it. So I echoed around it. And then there's some suns in here too. I'll have to show you as soon as I can finish the binding. I'll bring it up to the camera. But there's some suns quilted into here. And there's also these really cool swirly things. I don't know where I think they were back on that side over there. I did this really cool swirly thing because I needed to fill that space, but there wasn't enough for another swirl with feathers. So I made do with how I was doing it. It's really cool, actually. I had fun with this, that's for sure. I like when I have, especially if somebody was to send me a quilt or a customer comes and says, hey, can you quilt this? I like the free range to where I can do whatever I want. That is what makes me happy. I don't have any pantographs or designs for anybody to choose from. It's just bring it to me. Tell me the kind of quilting you want. If you want it heavy, medium, or light, and I'll do my best to stick with it. I don't actually like heavy quilting, but this is like perfect. Like super perfect. Well, at least for me. Oh, sounds like the boys are back. They had to go to the dollar store and get me a new TV remote. My enter button don't work, and enter is the button that's needed to work everything on the TV in my room. So weird how one button controls everything. This is kind of hurting my fingers right now.
Got you all kinds of goodies, honey. Make your night. I got you all kinds of goodies to make your night.
Oh, thank you.
Anybody here from the quilting marine?
No.
We were just talking about him the other day. We haven't heard from him either.
Nope, nobody's heard from him. We're gonna try to figure out what's going on sooner or later. Somebody will write somebody back because everybody's been writing something from what I know and me, so. But nobody's heard from him. He'll be on sooner or later.
Diane didn't hear nothing from him.
Sometimes life gets in the way, and you guys know it. And if in the future, if you don't hear from me on here or see me on YouTube, you always know to ask in the group, because everybody in the group can tell you where I've been or how I'm doing, because I talk to a lot of you on Facebook Messenger, and or the regular telephone. So you'd be able to update anybody else. So that's why another thing of joining the group is good, because I post there in the off time that I'm not on YouTube. I try to be on here every Sunday. That's my goal, is every Sunday for Sew Sunday. Any other time is just a random on, you know.
I'm gonna go work on your TV. I'm gonna shut some windows outside. It looks like it might rain.
Okay. Oh, really? It's gonna rain, maybe? Did you guys send me rain finally? I've been asking for it.
It's rare, but it looks like it might.
I've been asking for you guys to send me rain. Every time someone says it's raining and they message me, I always say, send me rain. I hate the rain for my body. My body hates it. I love it, though. I love the sound of it, the smell of it. It's soothing, but I do not like how it makes my body feel. He's in here munching on, what are you eating? Chex
Honey barbecue
Mix.
Chex Mix. Don't worry, I
Honey
got you.
barbecue?
That's for me. I got you a bunch of goodies.
Okay.
A whole bunch of them. You will be happy.
You guys know me and my food problem. I don't look like I eat a lot, but I eat a lot, surprisingly. I could pack it down. When my belly can handle it, I should say. Ever since my surgery, I don't know. I don't know if I can feel too much of a difference besides the gurgling sounds from my belly, and some of the pain is gone, but this week I have some more tests with the doctor. Some of you know, some of you don't, but after next week and I have results from my tests, then I'll be able to update more crap in my life. Obviously, it's my quilting life, and if it starts affecting my quilting, then we're going to have problems. Well, I'm going to have problems, but you know what I mean. Oh, just a little bit more to go on this one, and I can cut another binding. I didn't even choose a color yet. I think I'm going to go with black because it's like simple. And I kind of wanted a never-ending edge on that next quilt, so, which is another tutorial, well, tutorial style. It was me showing you how to do a quilt on point. All right, almost to the end. Here we go, the last like 5.5, 6 inches. I'm gonna have to like glue my pedal down, I swear. It's just not staying. Stay. Aha! All right. Sends you heat. Yep, here we go. I'm gonna blow it to you, Vicki. Have some Arizona heat. It's in the 99 this week. This coming week, starting tomorrow, is supposed to hit the 3 digits already in temperature. So it'll be like 101 sometime this week. All right, so from afar, here's one block. Here's the other block. There's 4 of them on here. And they're all a little bit different. And this one with the green, you guys can't see from there, but from here, you can kind of see it. The quilting, the color I used was linen. It was a glide thread. And in some of the areas, it blends so much that you can't see the quilting at all, like right here. You know, it blended so hard in this color that I had a hard time quilting in that because I couldn't see where I was going with the thread. I had to really pay attention. There's the other block. Certain angles you can really see it. Let me find pieces to show you now. All right, so let's see. Here's a swirl, and if you've been in the group, obviously you've seen this stuff. Oh my goodness, stay. Where did it go? Right here. You see that? This one's a really big one. It's all the way around the whole spiral. Let me find some of those little swirly things I did. Oh, here they are right here. Just these little, they come around the little spiral way, and then it goes another way, and then it comes another way, and then it goes another way, and back up this way, and then I echoed around it. Obviously, it's hard to tell in the white, but Let's find. Oh, here's one that I didn't do the little paisleys. It just came out a regular feather. So you can see that. Let's see, where's the little sun? Let's find a little sun. They're in here somewhere. It's kind of all scattered through the whole thing. Oh, here's one that's a feather, but it's echoed twice, but it's not a paisley. See that? Come on, stay. It's echoed twice, but it's not paisley. I just went around it twice. It's pretty cool. Where did the little suns go? There's so much quilting in here. Oh, here's one right here in the green. So there's a couple of these little sun swirls on there. They're super adorable. Let's see if I can't get it to focus better. I like them. They look really cute. And then the echo around it with this another swirl kind of like pulled it in, you know. Oh, look, there's a better angle. You could see. So yeah, this one came out amazing. And then obviously, let's hold it up so you can see the back. One more time. I like that I did this on the back, you know. And then obviously it splits color down the center, every other color. Definitely pleased with my results on this one. Oh, Michelle, you can do it. It doesn't take much to do. Like, I don't know. I guess it's just I found my thing. Last night's video showed how I went into them, but because I was trying to pay attention to making sure you can see the screen and trying to make sure that I can stay slowed down, it's really hard to make a perfect swirl when I'm going really slow. I don't know what it is about going fast, but I definitely cannot go slow. All right, and I'll tell you the size ended up, I think it's 69 by 69. So I'll lay it right here while I grab the next one. And this is how my quilts get put on a hanger. This one's done. So if you guys remember this, for those of you, this one is 43.5 by 49.5. So for those of you who don't have the group on Facebook, this is the baby one. I'm going to throw some binding on it. I think I'm going to go with black because I think it'll look cool. Plus the back is black and white. Very modern black and white quilt. This one has simple quilting, except it has very, very time consuming. Let's see if you can see that cross hatching. Hold on. I need the perfect angle. So see, the whole top is cross hatched with black thread. Obviously there's some threads on it, but all the way around the whole thing. And then in the stars, it's just lines going around. There's an oval in the center. And then in these blocks, I used a Spiral-X ruler or Spin-X or something like that it was called. So all of these have that, and then all of these have this. So, and obviously on the back, you can see around the whole edge because I used black on my bobbin as well. So it highlighted all the way around. So it's shaped in the quilting is seeable. So I think I'm going to put black on it, guys. What do you think? That way it just seals it off. All right, let's move this one out of the way. Done. And then the other one that I have to bind is this one. I haven't bound it yet. It's just kind of been sitting. And I don't know if a lot of you even know I finished this one too. This one is so soft. It has a flannel back. And it's like, and it came out really, it's not stiff at all. It's like super soft. So it's just a little throw. And the back looks awesome. But I think I showed you guys. It has ribbon candy around all that in these borders. And then scallop, I guess they're called scallops all the way around. Or clamshells, that's the word, clamshells. So if you guys saw, there's videos on YouTube on doing this. And then there's stitching all the way around this. So I don't know what I'm going to put on this one yet, though. I might just bind it with some gingham because I have tons of gingham. So yeah, this is made, this right here, all these little stars are from the tips that are cut off from jelly rolls. When you snowball a corner of a jelly roll and you have that last little piece, that's what this is made out of. And as well as this, as you can see, I make quilts, small quilts off of the leftovers from these little pieces from the big quilts. So this, all these pieces are from a big quilts tutorial, which this is also tutorial. And then all the little pieces from this, you guys didn't see the tutorial, but the quilt is done. Actually, I really haven't shown you guys that either. It's a king and it might be too hard to hold up, so I will just bring it close to the camera. For those of you who aren't on Facebook, this is a king size. It's really, 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 really heavy. It's 100 by 111 exactly. It's humongous. So this one's already going to somebody that's purchasing. So I just have to get all that stuff together for it. But this, all the leftover pieces from this is how I made this. So these little cut-offs right here from these corners is how I make these guys. I just can't throw it away. I don't know about you guys, but I just can't throw it away. So this thing is huge and it's very, very heavy. It's bound in the backing fabric and it's quilted with an edge to edge all over, which you kind of can't see, but there's videos on YouTube if you've gone over to the YouTube group. I mean, seriously, everybody, join the Facebook group for this channel. Specifically for everybody that follows me, join that group. I'm always posting at least pictures more than anything, but there's long arming videos and updated versions of everything that I do there. So just so you know, if you want to see, join that group. You must be subscribed to my channel here on YouTube, though, to be in the group. It's just one of the rules.
Did you show me a little toothpick shank?
Okay, so Scott was in here the other day. I got to change the subject completely. So when you see right here, you know, you see something weird. So Scott was in here and he doesn't know what everything is, okay? Like, he's a man that doesn't know. So he's in here, he's like, why do you have a toothpick shank?
Some little wooden shank she has hanging on the wall.
He's weirded out by my wooden shank that's taped. I was like, oh, that opens up Dresdens for the, when you make a Dresden. Oh, my little ruler's stuck. I was like, yeah, you make a little Dresden and this pops out the little end, you know, it helps push it out if you don't have fingernails or something to push it out with. So he's making fun of me because I have a little shank in my quilting room. It was so funny that you guys would have had to have been here for the conversation, but yeah, he thought it was a little shank.
It's your little wooden shank.
Definitely funny, though. Definitely funny. Yeah, and I keep it hanging right there. And I had to show him, he's like, Dresden. I don't know what a Dresden is. So I had to pull out a Dresden plate block to show him. And if any of you don't know, I guess while I'm talking about it, I'll just show you because it's right here. A Dresden block looks like this. So all these little points, this one's not stitched down yet, but all these little points to get them to stick out all the way, that is done with my little, what he calls wooden shank.
What kind of hooks do you use over there? They want to know. They want to know about your fancy patented hooks there.
My patented hooks are actually those big, huge thumbtacks and a, what is it called? Paper clip.
Paper clip opened
It's
up.
a paper clip with the hooked on one end, pinched down, and then turned sideways to open and curl out. I opened all my paper clips. So yeah, I used heavy duty paper clips, obviously, but that's what holds all that there.
We're pretty cheap around here, Marla. We make things work.
I don't have the money to buy anything right now. I was gonna do a pegboard wall, but Scott and I priced it. It's $70 for a pegboard, plus all the little thingies that you have to buy to have a pegboard. I'm like, yeah, that's not happening. I'll just find another way, and I found my way. So, all right, let's get the binding cut for this. So, while I'm here, for those of you who don't know, just so since we're on here for So Sunday, and you know anybody that's new watching later, to get the measurements you need to bind your quilt, you need to measure your length and your width times it by, times your length by your width, and that will give you the inches all the way around. That is the number. My special way of doing it is I kind of go by the width of fabric. So if the width of fabric is 40 to 44 or whatever, I just always go by 40 in my head. So if a quilt is 80 inches long, 2 strips should cover that top with, just going by the number 40. Obviously, there's a little bit extra play because fabric is 43 inches without the salvage usually. So I would say this top piece, if it was, hold on, gotta tell you almost exact. This is 43 exactly. So I know that this top piece is 1 strip. So that means the bottom would be 1 strip. The sides, I think, are 49. Oh my goodness. But just so that you know, to calculate it properly, you just take it to a calculator and do that number. The side times the length, and that's how many inches of binding you need. So, yep, by 49. So I need 1 strip for the top, 1 strip for the top, 1 strip for the bottom, and then 1 strip for each side plus a half a strip. So I need to cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strips to bind this quilt. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's cut 5 strips off of the bolt of black. And I go through so much black that I'm sorry, I don't give a shit what anyone says. Oops, bad word. I used Walmart's Waverly. It is the same quality as every other fabric, so I just like it. It feels nice, it quilts nice, and it has a little bit more stretch than I would like, but so does the Benetech fabrics and Kaufman and this other brand that I just started getting. They have a little bit of stretch to them too, so I'm going to lay this right here just like so, and I'm going to cut 5 2 1/4 inch strips because I do my binding at 2 1/4. Actually, this is actually pretty thick. I'm going to do 2 1/2 only because that's a little bit thicker. And I always just line my bolt of fabric on, obviously, right off the bolt. I should start paying attention to how much I'm cutting off every time too. And then I use my weight. I don't know if you guys can see, but I use my weight. That's what our moms did make do. What did your moms do? Oh, like the hooks and stuff? Yeah. That's me all the way. All of my stuff is just however I can make it work because there's no way I'm going to go pay for all that other stuff when there's 99-cent stores that can help me get what I need done, That's where I got all the pieces. The little hooks came from the 99-cent store as well as the paper clips. See, and I don't throw this away. I just trimmed this. It's black, so it's hard to see with all me being black and everything today. But I don't throw these away, even though the other end is super thin like this because it was crooked. This is a fresh, brand new bolt. That's why. So it was a crooked end. I will cut it in half or rip it in half because it was enough to rip. And I'll use from about here on because that's big enough to do strip piecing or string piecing with. And I just have a whole drawer right here below. Under my desk, there's a whole drawer to put things. So, all right, let's get these. I'm gonna do 2.5 inch strips. So I need 5 of them. And I'll be able to go all the way around that quilt with plenty of room to close it off. I just got to remember I'm doing 2.5, not 2 1/4, because when I go to trim at the end, I might accidentally cut 2 1/4. I've done it before when I changed my number. There's one strip. And this shouldn't take long because this is a very small quilt and it's going to be sewn on with black threads. So the longest part is the pressing. Ooh. 3. Number 4. It's hard to see black lines on black fabric. Usually I use my pink ruler, but I didn't want to grab it down. And 5. Binding is like, for me, I think it's the fastest thing I do normally. Of all the steps in quilting, I think binding is like the easiest one. All right, there's our strips ready to go. My bolt back. Let's get this together. Just posted your dragon pillow for children's reading still has to be stuffed. Oh, did you post it in the group? All right, so as with any binding, right sides up on the bottom piece. Obviously, we've done this before, but I always like to reiterate anything that I've done in the past and present over and over until it's 100% in everybody's minds, especially for beginners, because when I was a beginner, like literally beginner, I had no idea what I was doing. So, yeah, this is definitely, like reminders is really good to have, because then you're like, oh, okay, that's how it goes. So this obviously is solid, but this piece would be right sides down, but you're creating an L. So I'm just going to come right here to the edge. I'm not even cutting the selvage off. I'll do that when I trim the blocks or trim the strip. And I'm going to hold it right here, perfectly parallel both ways. Oh, and it would help if I swapped my color out because I am going with black. Oops. Sometimes I forget. I gotta make a quick thread. Swapping to black. Just takes a second to switch everything out. Oh, look at that. This bobbin was actually empty. So I had this is how much was left in it. You can see against my shirt. There's only just a little bit left. I literally ran out at the edge of binding that other quilt. How cool is that? Usually I run out in the middle. So I'm trying to find my little brush. And it's missing. That means the girls took it. Like always. That little Triana, the little thief. Had some dust stuck in my bobbin, my bobbin casing. That's okay. Oh, and I need to clean my machine soon. I said that like 2 weeks ago, and I still have yet to do it. And remember, I used the Juki TL 2010Q. I know there's a new one out, the TL 2200 QVP Mini, which is exactly this machine. It's the same thing. Like, everything is exactly the same on it. But this one's just the model before that one came out. This was the top of the line when before the other one came out. Then they came up with the Juki 200 QVP long arm, so they had to make a mini for it. All right, so here we go. I always know my right side. See this little mountain right here? That little mountain tells me that this is the right side of fabric. If the mountain was going downward, creating this way, then I know that that is the wrong side of fabric. So on solids, it's easy to keep that, because some solids, the back side is ever so slightly a totally different color. So, all right. So again, where we were before I had to thread. Right sides together, a nice straight line. I overlap, so there's a little bit on this side hanging out and a little bit off the top hanging out. You can see that. I turn it sideways under my machine, and I start taking a stitch. I keep it lined up nicely, and I sew from that divot up here to this little crease divot down here. Oh, and it would also help if my stitch length was all right, so then I take this piece and I flop it over, right sides back up, grab another one. Again, I did not cut the selvages off, so I just leave it be. Grab another one, put it right sides together. So another one, leaving that first one on there, just corner to corner, from the crease to the crease, the little L shape. Again, rotate it so I keep it flat. I flip it over. Grab another one. Right sides together. One, two, three, four. Oh, I guess I got them all, huh? 5. And then obviously snip them apart. I have a cutter, but this is only a couple little pieces. Okay. So obviously there's this little thing right here. This little, I hate the whole black on black. Obviously me wearing black. So you can see I sewed from one corner right here to the other. And I'm just going to mindlessly cut these real quick with the rotary cutter and no ruler, because I really don't need a ruler to make sure that I have a 1/4 inch seam. So I just cut off these little triangle pieces. Sometimes I save them, sometimes I don't. Binding ones I usually don't save. I kind of just toss them because they don't match anything. I mean, they match everything, but I don't have a project with any other pieces that match it, so no point in using them. I just use the rotary cutter. Sometimes I use scissors for this part, but just cutting all these little ends off real quick. And one more. And I always cut the dog ear off, which is a little triangle that's on the end. But when I open it up, it should be one solid piece, like you can't even tell. If anything is shifted, like every once in a while it'll happen where one will be a little bit taller than the other. Sometimes I worry about it, sometimes I don't. If it's a really bad one, like see how this one has just a slight difference in the height? It's super small. Obviously you can see it, but it's kind of there. I'm just going to leave it though. I'm not going to worry about it. And this one's good, nice and flat. Every once in a while they aren't, but it's always best to check before you start pressing. But I'm going to press this now. I'm going to bring the quilt over here. Once I make the binding, it's ready to go on. And I'm going to tip the camera just a little so that you guys can watch me press how it's done. Try to see how fast I can do this without distraction. Good night, Diane. I just saw that right now. Sorry, I don't know how long ago that was wrote. All right, slight movement of camera. You guys are used to this though. And here's the ironing station. All right. So I'm just going to take my piece and throw it up here. And I'm going to grab all the way to this end over here. Make sure that it's wrong side up because I'm going to fold it in half. And I'm going to press my little junctions as I get to them. This is only 5 strips, so it shouldn't take very long. It should go pretty quick. Oh, yeah, I don't do that. I just kind of put them together. I've never really had a problem with putting the wrong sides. It's that last part when it's putting it onto the quilt. That's when I have the issue. When I'm going to attach the 2 ends. But yeah, I just go and I start from the beginning and fold it in half. Wow, I'm not used to binding this fat. Like at all. I'm used to doing 2 1/4. It's so much smaller. I'm also not used to making binding with my glasses on, which are for reading, not for sewing. I just fold it in half. I use my thumb on the inside, my first finger on the outside to press it down, and the rest of my fingers on the outside as I go. And I just kind of line it up and adjust as I go. And I just take the iron straight down it. This is how I get it done so fast. And I bring that to the other end and just keep going. I press down at first just a little. This piece was a little bit wrinkly off the bolt. So I'm going to straighten that out real quick. Come back down here to this end and do the same thing using my finger, my first finger, to just fold it in half. I just make my way down. Usually doing like king size quilts that require 14 or 15 strips or 13 or 14 strips, somewhere in that number, depends on the quilt. This takes me forever, but this is pretty darn quick. So I'm going to go down this real quick, give it a little bit of steam, push that seam part down, and start back again right here. Just try not to burn your finger. This iron doesn't get as hot as my other iron, so I don't really burn my finger. I had to switch irons again. This is my other backup iron. And this one kind of sucks. This one's more like for household, just iron jeans or something, you know. Definitely not meant for my pressing needs, these kind of irons. I got to get my other one fixed. Or a new one. I really don't want to have to get a new one, but if I have to, I guess I will. Come down this real quick. Make sure it's nice and flat. I'm almost at the end anyway. Take my finger, fold it over. I go like 4 or 5 inches out as I fold. I just kind of press and go. So used to it that I get it done pretty quick. I actually have a whole box of like pre-made binding stuff. I don't know how to even use it. It's like double fold or something like that. Someday I'll figure out how to use that stuff and bind a quilt with it or something, or like a wall hanging. All right, that's done. Now to attach it and be done with this little baby quilt. Okay. Let me turn the camera back to the sewing machine. Oh, too far. All right. Oh yeah, there's a video on how I put the ironing board together. It's a big, huge ironing board. Let me tell you, absolutely love it. It's the best thing I have ever decided to do. I can press, because I pre-press everything before it goes on the quilting frame, and it has been a blessing to press all quilts before going on the frame, because they, what's the word for it? They quilt better if they're nicely pressed. So yeah, I have absolutely loved having my big, huge ironing board. And whether it's a straight board or not, like, it's kind of got, one side is a little funky. It's like, it was used wood. We just grabbed some used wood, so, but it still works amazing. I love being able, I could press this whole quilt top in 1 1/4 passes over. It's great for pressing yardage prior to anything. Oh, I need a quilt tag for this. Totally forgot. I have my little pre-made quilt tags for small quilts. So, got to make sure I put my tag on it. I'll go right down here at the bottom. So let's lay it where I want it first. Oh, and they're really hard, so they won't, when they're washed, they won't buckle like some tags do. So, I'll put it about right here. So I sew this on first real quick. That way it's on there really nicely. So that's my little quilt tag. I don't know how well you can tell, but it's so much easier to have a little tag that's already pre-made, so I don't have to write on anything. All right, so I'm going to lay this up like so. I'm going to leave like 12 to 18 inch tail. And sew 1/4 inch all the way around, sewing this on. I have to change my dial every time I do something different. All right, let's put this beast on. Now I got to make sure it's going over the tag just right. And then I always check to make sure, okay, good, that I didn't go over my writing, which I didn't because I made them a specific size, these little tags for small quilts. Yeah, on big quilts are the only ones, or lap and bigger is the ones I put the triangle tags on, and then crib and wall hangings get this. Sometimes I don't even put one on wall hanging, especially if it's for my own house. Then I don't put a tag on it at all. Nope, no gift. This is just a random, gonna go in my Etsy shop quilt, which is empty right now, unfortunately. I have yet to renew all my ads because I've been super busy with trying to get more quilts to put in the Etsy shop. So I got to get, I was going to go get a bunch of pictures taken of all the newest quilts outside, so they're really nice to see everything. That way it's easier to post them, because indoor pictures on my quilts just didn't seem to be doing any good. So I need outdoor pictures. And now that it's summertime, I'll get good pictures of my quilts to start listing on there for sale. Some are keep though. Some of the ones I've made this year are keep ones. And some are for sale. I'm pretty sure this one will go quick because it's super modern, and the whole black and white thing is very popular amongst a lot of people. I'm just sewing this on. 1/4 inch all the way around. You can actually sew it probably 2 stitches away from the 1/4 inch line if you want. This is also the time, if I have any threads on the back of the quilt, I always clean those up as well when it's facing this way. a 1/4 inch away. Oops, that was not supposed to happen. I was talking at the same time and I pressed my foot pedal. I always stop a 1/4 inch away from the end so that I can do my flip up. Got one extra stitch than I was supposed to. And it's black with black, so it's hard to see. I turn the project, lift it up. So taking the piece where it's still the folded side towards me, lift it up by tipping it straight up, make a crease, come back down onto itself really quickly like, and then I always take my fingernail and I crease in at the edge of the crease, making a line, and that's where I drop my needle, a 1/4 inch in. I put my needle down, take a back stitch, and go the rest of the way. It's pretty quick. And even for a small quilt, this is kind of awkward right here at this machine. It's in an awkward angle. Excuse me. Sorry about that. That cough is just, it lingers in there. So what's everyone doing? Is it getting is it dark everywhere? I'm pretty sure it's dark for most of you, but it's still kind of light outside here. Like, it's enough to go outside and see everything. Ask if you're making that for him. LOL. How funny. No, but you can make one for him, Vicky. Is he like black and white or something? Is that his thing? My quilt, my personal one that I did that's going to go in the quilt show, that one's black, white, and gray. And turquoise, obviously. There's that darn pedal again. Again. This is side 3. Oops, one extra stitch that I'm supposed to have. Usually I don't mess up like this, but stitch out of there. All right. Come up, come back down. Obviously it's coming on the opposite side of me. Oh, you also want to make sure when you're laying your binding out on a quilt, especially if it's a big quilt, that you don't have any seams that are going to end up in a corner, because that's not good. I have accidentally, I don't know how it happened, I measured it out and everything, but one of my seams ended up in the corner, like literally. I must have like cut too much off of one piece or something, and somehow it just landed in that corner. The only reason why I say that is because this one's about 3 or 4 inches from the corner. You just want to make sure that they don't end up in the corner. It was being funny. It's dark there, huh? Well, obviously, what, you're at 2 hours difference from me? Where'd everyone go? Nobody's talking. Everybody falling asleep while watching, since you guys, a lot of you are on the East Coast. I know it's getting kind of late, but sometimes I don't come on until 7 my time, so you guys are lucky I came on at 5 because the girls went home at 4. 4:15 is so. Then I cleaned my room with some vacuuming. Morning, and you're in Nebraska visiting your daughter and your family and your grandchildren. be there for a month of May because all of the boys' birthdays are in May. Well, good luck to you having fun with your grandkids and kids, Linda.
It took almost an hour. Your TV does not like that remote. That remote does not like your TV.
Oh, did you just try setting it up?
Huh?
You just tried setting it up?
Just? I've been doing it ever since I got home.
Oh. So the TV doesn't want to play well with the new remote?
No. I think I got it figured out, so don't ever screw with it. Other than
My pedal is just falling off and off and off, and it's starting to piss me off.
Teresa's cleaning her machine.
That's what I need to do. Like, seriously, totally need to clean this thing. I need to take it outside and do what I usually do with my bi-yearly overdue clean. Like, I seriously take the whole thing apart and I blast it with air.
Hi, everyone. I've been in and out, so you don't have to worry about saying hi to me.
To spend a month. Yeah, Teresa. I know you always want to go back home.
Sonia has been pinning a king-size quilt.
Sonia's what?
Pinning a king-size quilt.
Ooh. So you're getting ready to quilt it?
Yep. Oh, Teresa said yeah. That's Sonia.
I'm going to come down just a little bit because I'm on my last side, and I'm going to leave about 12 to 18.
Oh, way up at the top, Vicky says there. Hubby asked if you're making that for him.
Yeah, he was being silly.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to back stitch right there, and I'm going to do my personal way of doing this. I know some of you say, oh, that's not accurate, but I know you can't see down here very well. So I'll show you what I do right here. So I take the piece that I started with. I take my scissors, and if this is my end, I come halfway point, slide it down, make sure everything is nice and flat, and I chop it off. Then, see, I have to have it flat, so I don't know how well you guys are going to see right here. Then I take my little ruler, and I know that this is 2.5 inch binding. I had to think about that one for a second. So I put the 2.5 inch line, make sure everything's nice and flat. I put that 2.5 inch line on that edge of what I just cut off. I take my fresh new piece, my other piece, the last of the tail, I lay it on top of it. This is totally not the accurate way of doing it, but this works for me. I take my scissors and I cut right here on this line, right, just like that. And then I leave it here for a second, and then I come back and I trim about I don't know, just literally a smidge more, that little itty bitty piece away from it, because I know that there's some stretch or it's not completely flat. So I trim just a tiny bit more from it. And look at this, all 5 pieces gave me just, well, it's all this black, just that much left. That's it. So I was very accurate with that. So I'm going to move this out of the way. And the reason why you needed a gap is because the only way to hook these together is to have some way to fold it up so that you don't lose sides. So I'm going to take, so if this is the one piece, I'm going to open it up right here. I'll just lay it right here so that you can see. And then this other side, you're going to open it up and keep it downward, crossing them over each other, just as you put them together. For anybody that needs to know how to do that. Now you can pin this section or you can just free go like I do. I just line them up and I put them together, put my foot down. Obviously I need to change my stitch length real quick. I take a stitch or two so it's holding it. Bring the other side up. Hold it as if I was a pin. And sew to the other side. And before I cut, I always open to make sure that I sewed it, because I accidentally sewed the wrong way before. I make sure that it lays nice and flat. And if it does, I just take my scissors, trim a 1/4 inch away from that seam away, I've done this so many times, it looks so easy to do, you know. But I do it my way, and this way I've never had a problem with. And then I take this piece and I kind of lay it down so that I can finger press it to one side. That way it lays nice and flat. And I open it back up, move everything back out of my way, put this back, change my number back, and sew a quarter. I come about an inch away from where I ended. And I don't even back stitch, I just come about an inch away because there's double stitching, so there's no point in back stitching because that is a double stitch. And I sew the rest of the way down. And I stitch about an inch past where I started. And that's it. So now, do you go over 2.5 inches? What do you mean, do I go over? I just could. Okay, I just wish I could do like you do. I'm still doing stitch in the ditch. You'll get there, Sonia. There's nothing wrong with stitch in a ditch at all. I actually, preferably, depending on the quilt, I actually like echo ditching, where you stitch like so. Here's your ditch. Instead of stitching in the ditch, if it's a big block, obviously, stitch a 1/4 inch away from that ditch all the way around. I don't know why, but the look of that seems cleaner than actually stitching in the ditch. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that makes any sense. Plus, it takes away the chance. It depends on if you are a person. Okay, I've had to explain this. Somebody asked me, so I'm going to explain it again. If you press your seams open with every seam and you stitch in that ditch, guess what you're doing? You're opening your seam back up. So if this was pressed open, you'd see, I want to hold this here so you can see. You're going to have this white seam will be on this side, this seam will be on this side, and it's open. So you could actually pull open that seam. Yes, your thread is strong, but when you start quilting it, what you're doing is you're poking holes in between those stitches that are holding that open seam shut. So in actuality, you are re-splitting open those open seams. So you're taking more chances of your quilt falling apart in the wash from stitching in a ditch on a pressed open seam than you would stitching in the ditch on a pressed to one side seam. Because if the seam was pressed to only one side, what you're doing is you're stitching in the ditch, holding down, either depends on the side that you're pressed to, you're either stitching on that seam that you have pressed to one side, and or you're stitching on the opposite side, which is just the fabric only. I mean, it doesn't always end up exactly in the center. But if you have pressed open seams, think about that for the future when you're quilting stitch in the ditch. Remember that if it's pressed open, you're actually splitting back open what you were trying to close. So instead of seams being, pressed open on each side, you're going right through what you've stitched together. So you're separate. What you're doing is, here's the stitches locked like this. Then you're going on top of them, poking holes. You opened it, you opened it, you opened it, and you opened it. So I just want to make sure that some of you know stitching in the ditch is not a good thing to do when you have pressed open seams. But if you are a person like me and just press one side or the other, by all means, it's actually less traumatic on the fabric and less chances of it falling apart in the wash. I just had to explain that real quick because somebody asked me on a question thingy before, and I had to explain it, and it seemed like I was not explaining it correctly. But if you take fabric and you do that and press it open, say you just take 2 pieces of fabric and you press it open and run over that stitch in the center, you'll see you're splitting open that whole entire seam. So there's no point in doing that. I don't know why people press them open. If it lays flat or whatever, I've done it and it doesn't do any difference for me. But yeah, there was a quick tip for you guys. Pressed open seams on a whole quilt, do not stitch in the ditch. At least you shouldn't. You should echo ditch instead. So that way you're on each side, you're stitching. If your seam is open, you're stitching just the closure of the seam. So that little 1/4 inch seam, piece that's on this side, you're echo stitching. So you're stitching that down, and then this side you're stitching that down, taking away the chance of splitting the seam open. All right, let's see, what did I miss? Go over the last and the first end. You go, oh, I go, when it was over, Teresa, so I flatten it out. The first side that I started from is the side I cut halfway in between. Then I lay my ruler on it, wherever it just appeared to. I lay my ruler on it. There it is. So here it is. We'll just say. So I cut the side I started on. I'll lay my ruler at it. So here's the end. It would be coming off this way, obviously. I put the ruler at 2.5 inches. Then I'll take my next piece. You know what I mean? So this was the other piece. And I'll come over and trim that away at the edge of the ruler on the top one, the one that's on the top. I'm holding the bottom one down. The one that's on top, I trim it. And then when I pick it up, I take that same straight line and I trim away another, like, I don't even think it's 1/8 of an inch. So it's just a very small amount, because sometimes it ends up, the fabric will shift and or the ruler size gets in the way of the scissors. But for me, that method that I do, it's quick, easy, and I don't have to worry about using the binding tool, which I never understood that, besides making a whole quilt out of it. I never understood using it for the binding. It just seemed too much for me, I guess. Absolutely right, Tiff. I have heard of this many times. Yes, the whole stitching in the ditch on the thing, just, you got to beware, because you're definitely ruining the integrity of the stitched closed fabric. It's supposed to be closed. Never thought about that, but she's right. Why we like watching. Oh, I've learned over time, Sandy. That's why a lot of it's lessons I've learned from myself and from seeing shows at the quilt show, or seeing quilts at the quilt show. You can tell, especially people that use white fabric, you can tell if the seam is pressed open, because you can see the seam on both sides. And when they've stitched, you can see that separation, as opposed to telling the difference of a quilt where you know someone's pressed to only one side, and you can even feel it when you touch. You know, it's a lot thicker on this one, and you don't feel anything on this side. It's and you can see the difference in the stitch. So I mean, there's a lot of stitching in the ditch on this, because I did it with rulers, and it looks amazing. It's either holding down the one side that the stitching is on, which is this side in these blocks, and or it landed on the other side, but it didn't split anything. So it's very smart, you know. Interested in sewing, watching Sandy. That's good, Vicky. And now you watch everybody, so you definitely are learning something. If you press open, lower your, it's still going to split it open, whether it's a smaller stitch length or not, unfortunately. Unless you're stitching a stitch length of like 1.8 maybe. If your machine is set at like 1.8, that's like the tiniest, that's barely pickable size, you know. I may, you went too fast. It may inches between tails to start. Well, I don't use the binding tool for binding either. Yeah, most people don't. I never did. I got it purposely to make the binding tool star quilt. That's the only reason why I got that thing. And I'm definitely glad I did, because that quilt turned out amazing. It's just not quilted yet. All right, switch my stitch length and get to going. Bring this over here so I don't stitch over my marked line, because I can't stitch a straight line for the life of me. Kind of sucks. I appreciate it. Well, thank you, Sandy. That's what the lady at the quilt shop does. Open and 1.8. I started watching by Jenny Doan. Oh, from Missouri Star. Yeah, I obviously didn't know there was videos at first, but when I first started noticing videos, it was Missouri Star and Jordan Fabrics. And Shabby Fabrics lady, Marlene, what's her name? I think it's Marlene. I'm not sure what her name is, but yeah, I watched her at first, because she made I needed to know how to make something like a skirt or something, and she had a little tutorial. I don't remember the lady's name, but I watched the videos at first. Ooh, this looks great with a black binding. Definitely super slick. It just finishes it. Folds over, never ending. It's the illusion of being bigger than it is. Okay, Jennifer. Okay, I had to think about that. What's the other lady's name? Maybe she's not Shabby Fabrics. What is it? Oh my goodness. There's a blonde one named Marlene that I watch. I'm trying to think of what one she's from, though. Oh my goodness, I'm blanking it. I like literally could go on my channel though and see tons of their videos. Turn. All right, let's get this done. Get this show on the road. 1, 2, 1, 2, and go. I watched them a lot. Also, Shabby Fabrics. She's an airline pilot for American Airlines. What? Really? Interesting. I always wondered what other jobs people do besides making their videos. Like, you know, I'm daycare. Like, what are the other jobs that other YouTubers have to be able to, you know, have YouTube? Because you got to pay for your internet and cameras and equipment and stuff, you know. So I mean, what other jobs do people have that are on it? Like, I've seen a lot of people that have like bazillions of subscribers. What else do they do during the day besides, do they make really that much on YouTube? There's no way YouTube is paying millions of dollars to somebody to play video games, honestly. So I always wonder what these other people do, especially quilters. Is it full-time quilting, you know, or is it part-time? What do they do? She got laid off. She opened Shabby Fabrics in her basement. Oh, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I didn't know all that. I guess I'll just get this one finished, and the other one I will finish on my own time because I've already been on here for almost 2 hours. So this will hit the 2-hour mark. If I didn't have all this stuff on the desk, I'd stop hitting things and I wouldn't be running into stuff when I'm stitching. Oh shoot, where'd my tag go? Oh, did I have it hit it already? I just thought about that. I started top stitching without making sure that my tag was down. Okay, good. I haven't made it to it yet. I accidentally almost stitched it folded out once. Like, that would have sucked because I had to unpick the whole entire thing. I try to like either tuck in or clip away any shredding from after trimming a quilt. Sometimes it shreds on the edge. And another listing of some more source fawns and border trees down under. And to be sure, and there's one. Yeah, I watch all those. And obviously like Jean True Love and so on and so forth. And Quilting Marine, obviously Sandy with Poor Man's Sewing. watch everybody, which I've told you guys that before. I literally have a really long list. Quilting Cowboy, which some of you I've told you to go to, and he's supposed to be going on the Ellen show according to his Instagram. So we'll see if he ends up on the Ellen show. That'd be cool though. Ellen does do a lot of show with gays, so because she's gay herself, so she likes to keep track of the gay community and do shows with them and stuff. And it's up here, Poor Man's Sewing. It's Sandy. If you haven't been there, click on her little icon next to the chat thing, and it'll go to her page. That's Sandy. A lot of us actually watch each other, surprisingly. I like watch Margaret Lowen, although I did miss it today because of the girls. But I watch everything, everyone. It's always something new to learn. There's also Quilting on a Budget. Yeah, I seen him too. There's another one that's also a guy as well. I forgot his name. I'll have to look because I just recently subscribed to it. But he's also a gay feller, so it's weird. There are straight men that quilt though, not just gay. It's an art for everyone. Somebody's saying good night. Good night to Sonia. Oh, I didn't even see. It must be up there and I can't see it. Good night, Sonia. We'll see you next time. Yeah, I haven't got to it yet. It's still one more side down. I'm making sure I'm paying attention. I don't want it to flip. That's one thing I have to pay attention to. With my corner tags, it's different, but these little baby quilt tags, they'll flip, and I don't want it to flip while I'm sewing it. So almost there though. Sometimes it looks like when I'm using the same color thread as the binding, I always think, oh, did I just go over? But I didn't. It just looks like it. It's weird. All right, so here's my tag right here. So let's make sure it's down. Not to it yet, almost. All right, let's fold it back. Let's make sure it's nice and flat. I'm almost to my starting point, and we'll be done. Staying nice and flat. stitch right here where I started. Fix my foot pedal that keeps falling. I don't know why. Trim off this little piece on the back that every time I cut my thread. Oops. And be done. So obviously it's one of those never-ending edges. See? And obviously on the back it actually highlights that, finishing it off with a black. It's better than doing white. Mr. Doma. It could be. Is he a gay man? Because I just subscribed to a gay man whose name is something, but he's a quilter, and he's kind of not slow like slow. He's slower paced, very slow paced in his descriptions and stuff. So there's binding on the back, and obviously the front is black, so you can't see. So there's another one done. Nice mitered corners, and so on and so forth. So another one done. Alrighty. So I have one more to do, but I'm going to get off of here because it's getting late for some of you, and I'll leave that right there so you can see it nice and pretty. That's him. I have a hard time watching him. Oh. Yeah, I just subscribed because it was quilting related. You know me, Teresa. I'm subscribed to everything quilting. Oh, all of you know I subscribe to every quilting related quilt. It's only quilting though. Some of them have made clothes and stuff, and I don't watch them as much because a lot of it's making t-shirts or whatever, like what's her name? Joy Bernhardt. She makes a lot more clothes than loading anything on her quilt frame, you know, so I don't watch it as much anymore. But yeah, I'm more into watching the quilt thing because I take other people's ideas or quilts and I change things up. I love to do that. So, and it gives me inspiration and ideas to do something different with it or make it, but in a different colorway. So, all right, everyone. Well, I hope you enjoyed another episode of Sew Sunday. Obviously, it's just binding, but you know what? They're done. They are awesome quilts, especially this one. Like, I don't know why, but this one. Flying Home. Make sure you go and find the video. I think it just says new pattern release Flying Home, but it might just say Flying Home. I don't know. Make sure you go check it out, people, because this one is super fun to make, and it quilts out amazing, and it's a lap size, so that's even better. 69 by 69, weird number, but it's a lap quilt, and it's very pretty, and it was very fun to quilt for me, you know, so I know for you guys, you'll have fun with it, and I'll get to doing this one's binding later. No rush. All right, everyone. I hope you had a great Sunday, and I will see you guys all next Sunday. And for those of you new, I'm pretty sure the subscribe button's on this side. A bell will pop up. Hit that bell. Get notifications when I'm on. And in the description below is links to all sorts of social media. Don't forget to join that group. The group has long arming videos. It shows all these and close-up pictures of everything that I do. And, well, mostly everything since I started it. And other people, you guys, everyone else is allowed to share your pictures and stuff. I love to see what you guys are doing. So, bye, everyone.